you feel as if Johnny Manziel is getting the short end of the stick with the media and how they're depicting him at every little thing that he's doing?
Uh, um, yes and no. I feel like a lot of it was brought on him because in college, I don't think he was doing anything too wrong. I just thought his attitude was very abrasive or nonchalant in a sense. So I think that made it worse. But actually, what he's actually been targeted for, the behaviors, that people have been citing. I guess recently he's been photo rolling around in money in a Vegas hotel. Like stuff like that doesn't really bother me, but his attitude doesn't really help it at the same time.
Me, no, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, Joe Namath was the same. I mean, hell, Manziel didn't even throw his first pass yet. So if taking into consideration once he started playing, once he had that first game where he throws 3 picks or more, or he has a continuous streak of inconsistent play and lackluster play, then yeah, you can bring that into account that, okay, maybe he takes the party life and his personal life to a whole account of him performing on the football field and taking his practices serious. But as of now, I can't say that it's a deterrent to his image. So, nah, the media is just overhyping things. Give him something to talk about since, free agency is pretty much dead in NFL now. So you need another story to go on to. And about Manziel, I mean, he gives Cleveland some exposure for once, going with this potential LeBron and in the draft of Wiggins. Nah, it's just gives Cleveland the exposure that I wouldn't hold that against him. He's just a kid, He comes with the territory. How his behavior is, how his personality is. He's just being a kid. Hey, I can't judge because he ain't played football yet. Once he started playing inconsistent, then yeah, we can point out those factors. But as of now, we can't really say anything. Just formulate our own opinions about him and just roll with it and let the media take its place. But as of now, no.
I guess I'm always the one playing devil's advocate, and once again, I'm pro-organization. I feel as if there's a big issue with what Johnny Manziel has been doing, and I'm not just taking into account his college antics. If I'm the owner of an organization and I always see my star rookie quarterback, who once again has not took a snap in the NFL yet, and if I see what he's doing in the media thus far, it's going to rub me the wrong way, because I understand what you're doing Monday through Friday as far as films and books. I understand that. But I feel as if the extra measures could be taken as far as not having your image that so much in the media that it's always being talked about. It's not so much of what he's doing, but you're always getting talked about. You're not getting talked about for being in the film room and studying, or for being talked about for everything else. Well, why don't you have us talk about something else, obviously, and everything else that you're doing that's not football related? We're not talking about football. We're talking about everything else that doesn't have to do with football. I feel as if I'm the owner of an organization, that's a problem to me. So once you step onto the football field, if you're not performing to the standard of what I want you to perform as being our future quarterback, and then to add that on to what you're doing off the field, there's a big problem, and I'm not liking that.
Is Johnny Manziel the one? Like, to me, he doesn't seem like a coordinated attention seeker. I don't think what Johnny Manziel is doing is attention he's bringing on himself for any benefit of any kind. I simply think he was a hot young stud quarterback who was in the midst of having fun in the party state at a party school, and because of who he is, then as the media does, I feel as if the media created him to be the story. Like, he didn't name himself Johnny Football, and the windstorm or the media frenzy that that ended up being at Texas A&M, and now is going to eventually follow him to the NFL wherever he goes. That's not something that he created to me. So I don't feel like, as an owner, until I see Johnny Manziel breaking laws or engaged in criminal activity or around criminals and things of that nature, I'm not concerned. Would I draft him? Probably not in my top 5 picks, but that would have been based off football abilities. It would have had nothing to do with what he's doing. I just think he's an honest kid. I think he's a kid who's just having fun. I think you place a 20-year-old in his shoes, who eventually pretty much came from nowhere to win a Heisman, I feel like 9 times out of 10, that kid is going to be doing exactly what Johnny Manziel has been doing. I think his sport also hurts it too, because I feel like the NFL is more no fun than everybody else. So the slightest thing you do in the NFL, then you're going to be, bombarded or celebrated, in the media for reasons that have nothing to do with the actual sport itself.
I agree. You can compare his persona to Gronkowski. He brings a lot of attention on himself for what he's doing outside of the football field. There's a mix, but his party life is more of a focus in the media than his accomplishments on the football field. For Manziel, I mean, you got to look at it. He was born into money.
Right.
He has that
money.
To be able to
that's a whole different upbringing.
To be more out there, more open, and with this party stuff. But if it comes down to, like I say, it comes down to the field of play. The NFL longs for people, or athletes for say, who could be that party type. Joe Namath was the same way in the '60s. Then you had Deion Sanders coming out from Florida State. And, he was a marketing brand more than football.
Right.
And he was a party guy. He was, he backed up his play on the field, but I can't put that Manziel yet because he haven't yet to take a snap.
But off the football that we did see Johnny Manziel play, I don't think what he's doing is affecting his play, because I feel like he partied more in Texas than he's going to party in the NFL because of, before mentioned reasons. He's a quarterback, bad franchise, big name player, so he's going to have a lot of media attention is going to be on him. But I feel like whatever partying or kicking it or whatever he was doing, non-football related, it didn't stop him from setting records for 2 years at an otherwise unknown college football powerhouse until Johnny Manziel name blew up. So I haven't seen anything, whether it's character, that I feel his behavior will translate into affecting his on the field play.
I can't even throw his name with the Rob Gronkowski, being that Rob has produced on the football field and Johnny hasn't yet. So until Johnny has produced, I don't want to see the same persona of what you did in college as far as NFL. It's two different spectrums. You're not getting paid in college. You were playing to get paid in college. He's now has to understand, yes, he has to play now to get paid again, but his rookie contract isn't going to be worth anything. So as an owner, being that I haven't paid you yet, and you still have this persona of what you did in college, until I see something on the football field and until I see something outside of the football field that should give you the responsibility as an owner to give you that money after your rookie contract, I don't want to see you still acting in the ways of what you did as a kid. I understand you are young, but once again, you're stepping into an adult game. You have to act as a man. You can't act as a kid once you step into.
But that's when it becomes like nature, though. I mean, if you're 32 years old and you never had a car before, and somebody gave you the keys to a car and put you in it, you're not going to know how to drive it.
But once again, we just said Johnny has money, so she know how to act.
No. That's even, I think, going more into his fun, big persona, growing up in money with, from my understanding, the amount of money that he had, and from what you see with even celebrity kids or just people in regular life who grew up with money, there's less responsibility paid to, I guess, how they conduct themselves. Because at the end of the day, we're all working and we're all doing stuff to better ourselves financially. So all these little things we have to care about, because these things really do affect us every single year, affect our livelihood. If you're growing up with money and your mom had money and your granddad had money and his dad had money and his dad had money, you never grew up with that third eye to be aware of what you're consciously doing at all times, because you're already set. And that plays, and I think that's where his attitude comes into play, where he doesn't really
get the full picture,
grasp of what he's doing. Not to excuse anything that he's doing, but at the same time, what really is he doing? That's my thing. If we took away him being a football player and him coming from money, if he was just Johnny Manziel, 19-year-old teenager from Toledo, Ohio, what is he doing wrong here? He's living the life. He's living the life that people work hard to live. Because believe, if I cash out tomorrow, yeah, you're gonna see a different layer of me as far as fun and as far as outside persona. That's just, I feel like that comes with the territory. He just happens to have always been in that territory.
But so, he's now having to step into the responsibility of the face of an organization.
And where has he not been responsible? That's all we have to judge of is what we have seen. And what we have seen, he hasn't changed from who he was 2 years ago to who he is now. He's still the same person. And what we seen was in no way, shape, or form, because best believe if it was that big of a deal, we would have seen it show in college. Somewhere along the way, we would have seen a horrible, horrible game, a sluggish Johnny Manziel, out of it bedazzled Johnny Manziel. We never seen that. And this is what we're talking about, the SEC, which is pretty much better than some NFL conferences as far as competition you're going through for the duration of the season. And he balanced that on top of balancing newfound fame and all the other attention that he did not want. Again, that's my biggest thing. Johnny Manziel is not seeking this stuff as if Deion Sanders did and Dennis Rodman when he hired cameras and primetime TV slots just to marry himself. You know what I'm saying? Like things of that nature, going out of your way. I haven't seen Johnny Manziel do anything of that for me to label it a character flaw. He's just living the life.
Yeah, I ain't worried about him. He has a good behavior, good character.
Yeah.
Only thing I'd probably be worried about him getting a DUI, if anything.
Yeah, I will do. Now, I think the underage drinking in college should have been tended to. That was my only thing. Like in all these pictures, he's drunk. Like you can't address the underage drinking, but it's Texas, and again, coming from money. Like
underage drinking. I've done it.
Right.
In college, fun times.
Right.
But, I agree with all parties on this Manziel. Y'all want to jump into the next topic? All right. I want to get into this Josh Gordon thing. A man who's 23 years old, coming off a great season, 1,600 reception yards, 9 touchdowns, on the verge of stardom, and this has been a off season the Browns want to forget. And I can't. My thoughts on it. I don't have no sympathy for him. If I'm okay, I served a suspension. Mm-hmm. I'm getting countless warnings, league mandated suspensions, all this, and I'm still continue doing the same thing. I mean, what light would that put? You just say I'm a damn fool. If I have better numbers than Megatron, and I'm just putting my personal life over football. That says a lot about my character. Mm-hmm. Now, what is your thoughts on it? Like, do you have any fear or?
I don't fear it. Well, I guess right now I'm at a standstill where I don't know if it's going to spiral out of control or if it's going to be turned around. The kid is 23. I do feel like, from what I've known about Josh Gordon and what I seen and read in interviews and heard when I hear him speak and things of that nature, he doesn't seem like a knuckleheaded kid. So it has to beg the question, what's the linebacker? He was the Browns captain, last name Jackson.
DeQuell Jackson.
I think his statement captured it best, where he said if you're close to him to help this kid, because it's not really about football, and that's where I'm at right now. It's not about football right now. I think being 23, his career should be not the last thing on his. It should be taken serious. It shouldn't be the last thing on his mind, but him jeopardizing the career right now at such an early age shouldn't be the big focus as far as just the condition of what's really going on, because it has to be, whenever it's a string of continued incidences, a lot of times the same ones, that that speaks to some kind of generation or psychological something deeper connection besides just this guy keeps making bad decisions.
Yeah.
So for me, I would like to hear more about maybe his upbringing, or how when Des Bryant was going through his trouble, then we found out about his upbringing with his mom, and it doesn't justify things, but it shines a different light and makes you understand it in totality. So
for me,
that's where I'm at right
now. You have to worry about him in some sense. I was younger, I used to root for the Oakland Raiders, and there was this defensive tackle, Darrell Russell. Mm-hmm. Freakishly athletic, made the Pro Bowl twice, first All-Pro, 2 times, 98, 99. He came in when the Raiders were terrible. He could stop the ball. He could sack the quarterback. And Oakland started to, rise again in the AFC West. Now, his personal life, I know he got hooked on ecstasy. Mm-hmm. And he got arrested for rape. Mm-hmm. He was suspended numerous times. Same thing like Gordon. I think they would have cut him some slack and gave him an 8-game suspension. But now, he's not proving that he's working on his, off the field issues that, okay, it's going to be a year. Same thing with Russell. They suspended him a year and a half. Mm-hmm. He played again, and he wasn't the same no more. And his life outside of football, his fast life with him partying, drinking, doing drugs, led to an untimely death at 29. And for Gordon, I don't want him to go down. I don't want no player to go down that road. He's talented. I mean, he's 6'3", 225, fast, great route runner, can catch anything, a game changer.
Right after the catch.
And he had 2 mediocre quarterbacks. I mean, that's rare talent. If you're 23 years old, mm-hmm. you should be at least getting 1,100 yards right there. But he had 16 by playing 14 games, missing 2 to suspension. Mm-hmm. He's pretty much at a peak by what his skill set is at 20. Well, he was 22 during the season compared to wide receivers at the age of 20, 60, 30. Like, his career is take off, but, same thing. You have to be able to put down whatever he's doing. Just, don't drink. I mean, you can't smoke.
Right.
I mean,
that's exactly right.
You're
right. Nowhere around that. Got to put down the weed, like Stephen A. Smith said.
Yeah, just put it down. Cause if I'm blowing, and then the league comes to me and is like, okay, Mr. Berry, one more, you're suspended for a year. And I'm just off a rookie contract. I'm a supplemental pick at that, so I'm not making that much money. I'm going to put that down because my talent can give me the maximum contract at that wide receiver position. And now that he's pretty much on the verge of, pissing away millions of dollars in potential endorsements. Mm-hmm. Now, do I think that his career is over? No. In time in Cleveland? Yeah. Right. But, I can't feel bad for him because, hey, you've been warned numerous times. But, the same thing goes for Justin Blackmon and Kenny Britt. Right. Continuous,
right.
Erratic and bad off the field decisions can really hamper your career. Because now you got to look at a GM perspective. It's like, all right, once he's reinstated, he'll be 25 years old. Is he really worth the risk?
Right.
Or is he worth this much money just coming off? And you just had a monster year before. Now you're away from football. How are you going to play? Because there are some guys who came back and weren't the same after multi-years. Well, more than a year suspension. And, he really has to think about that. And, Sean, you got any?
I do feel sympathy for the guy, being that it's more than football, being that he has no one that can sit him down and tell him, no, you're not going anywhere. No, you're not drinking. No, you're not smoking. You're literally just going to sit here and do nothing but play ball. Like, I understand he's young, but there should be an older cousin, an older uncle, a teammate, a coach, a former coach. Somebody in his camp should be able to get this kid, and I'm saying kid like I'm only 2 years older than him, but get this guy and be able to sit him down and primarily have his focus just be on football. Because obviously we know that he's a good football player. He has the talent to be an outstanding football player, but now there has to be someone in his camp to get his life in order. Because if his life is in order, his football play will diminish. So if his life isn't in order, whatever he's going through that's causing him to drink and smoke so much, there's something in his life that is going on that's not right. And I feel as if that needs to be addressed. And I feel as if that's why I feel sympathy for him. Because being an African-American male, he has an opportunity that millions of us as African-American males would love to be in his position. And he's throwing it away. So why can't that be somebody else? So why don't you take advantage of the opportunity in life that you have instead of throwing it away? And the fact that nobody in his camp realizes the position that he's in to take him and sit him down, that's disheartening to me. That's why I feel sympathy for him. I don't know if he has that person. Instead of tweeting about it, forget tweeting about it, put the phone down and make that phone call yourself to go see him.
I mean, people's now that he's in Indianapolis, DeQuell Jackson. Maybe it's kind of hard. It's not we can't show up at OTAs like hey,
right.
But he probably still has his phone number he can call. That's your former teammate.
But you gotta think about it. Some people, you can't help people unless they want to help themselves, though.
Right.
I understand that.
It's saying like he had numerous issues.
Right.
Going back to when he was at Baylor. Art Briles is one of the lenient coaches in college football, and he got dismissed from Oregon. Didn't suit up when he transferred to Utah. All right, now you're going into a position where things are not going right. All right, you have the talent to be in the NFL. Just make yourself eligible to be in the supplemental pick in the draft. All right, he shows flashes of resiliency, but then again, his off the field issues. I mean, it's evident on his Twitter. I mean, he do same thing with his little riff with Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got to think, okay, where's this kid's head at? But at the same time, from a personal issue, sometimes you won't see reality until you hit rock bottom.
Right.
So hopefully that this here incident, if he's suspended for a year, will wake him up and he'll realize what's really going on. Because he's away from a game that he loves. I mean, he doesn't have it, 2 years of college, so he really doesn't have technically an education. So, I mean, what is he going to do outside of that? And he's going to have to live off the money that $600,000 that he's getting. I mean, once the funds get tight and everything else starts to piece together, you're going to actually know I messed up. I had to get this together. Just pray on it and, just go from there. So hopefully this will be a wake-up call. I can't really speak on what he's going through. I know there's something for him that's going on that makes him continue doing the same, dumb decisions. But, like I said, I understand I do want him to get his life together. But at the end of the day, I mean, you've had all these slaps on the wrist. If you keep, breaking the rules,
you gotta pay.
You gotta pay it. You just can't have really no type of sympathy. You're just like, hey man, he's a damn fool. I mean, I can't think that way, but he's gonna have to learn the hard way, and he's learning the hard way.
At the end of the day, if we're going on Sean's point, if he truly doesn't have somebody in his corner, basically like a conscience, an extra voice of reasoning, on which from the outside looking in, it doesn't seem as if he has that, especially in a male form. This is when it gets scary for me because he's looking at a year-long suspension. And if football is all he had, then, it becomes a 50-50 on how he's going to handle it. When you lose it, what the most important thing to you either, sit back, like you said, Brandon, like he needs to do, and, reevaluate everything inside and out and realize how important, his career is and what he's about to lose, or it could discourage him at the same time, and it could push him deeper into a depression, whatever addictions he has. It's like you're saying with Claret and, just other football players who, or just any athlete or profession, when people drive for something and then it's taken away from them, it can either help them or it can hinder them. So right now I feel like we're at the point where we're really about to see what it really is. Is it going to be, is it just,
a confidence maker or a deal breaker?
Right. Is it a misguided kid or is it a knucklehead? And I think that's what we're about to see, and that's becomes the scary part with the Josh Gordon ordeal.
Yeah, same. If you have something taken away from you that you truly love, I mean, it's going to mess with you psychologically,
right.
Emotionally. And it depends on how he handles it. I don't know what kind of person he is, but he really going to have to sit back and just realize, because we don't want to sit here 30 years from now and he screwed up off that one. Well, off this latest suspension, it's like, all right, damn, this kid could have been great.
Right.
You don't want that. Like I said, I mentioned Russell, Terrence Keel, guys, who had similar incidents to what Gordon's going through that really met an untimely fate at an early age, and you don't want that for anybody. So with Gordon, he really has to sit down and reevaluate himself. And it's like, okay, you're young, you're going to be given another opportunity. Your choice is going to be limited because there's going to be GMs that's going to be scared,
especially
of
at
your
the
prior baggage.
wide receiver position, where you can duplicate or manufacture, a staff field receiver more than you could, I say, a lot of other skill positions. So, yeah, he's definitely facing like a smaller market when he is able, to get back.
Not that many teams are going to be interested in him when he come back. If he come back, which I think he will, he has to prove to, Commissioner Goodell's like, hey, if you're given a year-long suspension, keep a low profile. Don't do anything where they'll extend the suspension a year and a half or two. It just keep a low profile. Just, get some counseling, get some sort of help, lay low, and focus on resuming your football career come 2015.
I just hope he wants it for himself, because you see what he's doing when he has football. He's not going to have football, which means he's going to have even more ample time to do whatever it is that he's been doing before.
That's right, man.
So I just hope that he gets his mind right, and I hope he has somebody to help him get his mind right, because when and if he gets this year-long suspension from football, who's going to keep him training, lifting weights, watching film, like bettering himself? Like, who's going to be that person? I can't. Even if he has that person, they can't literally go to his house and get him out of bed. He's gonna have to want it for himself. And what we've been seeing is, right now, understand he may want it for himself, but he just may want it for himself in his own terms, and it's not in your own terms. There's certain procedures and ways that you have to go about doing certain things. So, like you said, we'll see.
All right,
we'll see.
$1 million question. You think he'll be back in the NFL, and do you think he's done with the Browns? All right, you already know my answer. Say yes, he'll be back and no with the Browns.
Yes, he'll be back and no with the Browns. He'll be back, but not with the Browns, I should say.
Depending on what the Browns do this season without him, if the Browns suck, he'll be back with the Browns.
You might as well say he'll be back.
Literally, if the Browns suck, he's gonna be back. If they don't, they do decent, they realize that they can be without him, he's not.
Well, get him some help.
That's all you can go do. All right, moving on to the next topic, NBA free agency. Past couple of weeks, well, pretty much ever since the finals and even during the finals, just the looming thought of possible stars like LeBron James and with pretty much whole big three in Miami and Carmelo Anthony in New York. Just the possibility of those guys leaving and the debates about potential markets if they chose to leave and best fits. That's been pretty much all that's been talked about, more so than the Spurs actually winning the finals. So right now we stand basically waiting on the two biggest stars available, which is LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony. Pretty much playing the hostage situation, waiting it out to see exactly what they're going to do. My opinion, and I said this when I first heard Carmelo Anthony prior to the start of the previous season, when he publicly said no matter what, he was going to test free agency, just to, I guess he wanted that feel of being courted, things of that nature. As a Knicks fan, that alarmed me. I feel as if you were committed to New York or any other team that you were with, why even tempt yourself and to go see if the grass is green on the other side? So with Carmelo, personally, I think he's leaving. I think he's going to the Lakers. I said that as soon as I put into my mind that he was leaving. Legacy-wise, I think it's the only logical move for him, having Kobe there, assuming he's healthy. I feel like that plays a big difference on his chance of winning immediately if he goes to the Lakers, if Kobe is healthy. That's my take on Carmelo Anthony without going into too much detail.
Melo, I'm 50-50. Because you're putting a point where, okay, you get the max deal of what, $125, $130 million.
129.
Pretty much.
130.
Yeah, 130 opposed to what, 4 years, $96 million.
Correct. If
it's for the sake of his family, I'll stay in New York. You gotta talk to your wife. I mean, she's a star too. Okay. And, New York, the media spotlight. Mm-hmm. Now, when it goes to his behalf, all right, I'm 30. I want the best opportunity to win in a 3-year span. I would, if I was Melo, I would put my endorsements with Jordan and all these other ones into play. Like, okay, I can afford to take a little over a $30 million pay cut to align forces with Kobe. At the same time, there's other guys you can bring in at a 2-year window, where once 2016 come out, where guys like Durant and all these people, you'll have your best opportunity come 2017 and 2019 to actually win. By the time you would be 35, you would have to weigh all that on his shoulders. And I would lean towards LA just for the fact that, okay, I want to be in a big market. LA is a big market.
Biggest one besides New York.
And, you looking at the future of the teams, like, hey, Kobe will be out of here in less than 3 years, and he takes up majority of the salary cap. Mm-hmm. And then you can actually, since you're a veteran, you'll be, what, 30, be 30, 32?
33 when Kobe walks away?
Yeah, when his contract is up, and then, if Kobe do decide to stay, he's not going to be getting all this outrageous $25 million plus a year.
Right.
Then you're able to attract more talent, to LA so to help you win. So yeah, I would stay in. I mean, I wouldn't stay in New York. I'll go straight to LA. Palm trees. Playing at the Staples Center.
Right.
Playing in front of the movie stars. Yeah, you have to bring that star attraction to LA. And if LA's down and out, they're not going to be down and out for no 2-3 years.
Right.
So I'm 50-50, but I'm leaning towards the Los Angeles Lakers of winning Melo's rights.
If Melo is smart, he's going to stay his behind in New York. He's going to, like I said this before, he's going to bring Lance Stevenson with him. Because I feel as if Lance Stevenson would be a good asset to New York, being that he'll be playing at home.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I feel as if Melo stays home and he doesn't take the max deal, even though he says he wants a max deal, if Melo doesn't take a max deal and Phillies has a way of talking Melo down, I feel as if Melo stays in New York, you bring Lance to New York, I feel as if there's a good possibility Phil could get Paul Gasol. I feel as if you match Paul Gasol, Lance Stevenson, and Melo, I feel as if you bring that core to New York, I feel as if that is a good and a better, more optimism in New York than if Melo was to go to LA, because literally all LA has is Kobe.
But if you flip that same scenario, Paul Gasol already said if Melo signs with the Lakers, he immediately signs. So now you have Kobe, Paul Gasol, Carmelo Anthony, and then you got flexibility, because right now they only have 5 players under contract, I think, and Melo would be projected to make $23 million. Along with Kobe Bryant, it's 23, a little over 23. So between them, it's a little over $46 million. They have projected $63 to $65 million to use. So you got 2 players taking up $46 million. Paul Gasol, he's not going to be back in LA with a max contract. His best money would be to leave. But if he stays, has to figure at a reduced rate. You got a pretty good big 3 right there with flexibility in 7 other spots to bring in any accommodating player that you need on top of Julius Randle. So, I mean,
and then the Knicks, it'll be hard for them to bring in Gasol and Stevenson with that salary cap.
Stevenson's going to want money.
But my thing is, if Phil has a way of talking Melo down out of that max contract, because they lost a whole lot of money with Tyson Chandler leaving. Like Tyson and who else left?
We lost Tyson Chandler.
And
Raymond Felton. Well, yeah. We still got Tyson Chandler contract. We got rid of Raymond Felton contract. So we still.
And Calderon makes more than Felton.
And Bargnani, yeah. So money wise, we didn't really improve. I think like $4 million we improved.
Unless they gonna have to work some magic.
I don't
getting rid of Stoudemire.
I would like Melo to stay in New York, hometown kid, and just the Knicks. And I have nothing wrong with the market and Phil Jackson. I trust Phil. If Phil Jackson was a coach instead of in our front office, I would be more inclined to want him to stay. I would think he would have a bigger impact in a closer capacity to Melo.
Phil will be coaching with Derek. Phil will be coaching with Derek Fisher.
He's not gonna fire Derek
Phil
Fisher.
will be coaching.
No, it's not.
He'll give him some pointers.
Yeah, no, it's
that's
not. No, it's
Phil's going to be coaching.
But it's the same thing. Even if he's has making moves from his Ivory Tower up in the box office, it's not the same as actually being on that sideline in the timeouts in the locker room.
That's like playing for Michael Jordan. You think you're gonna play for him? You think his greatness gonna rub off on you?
It's all different dynamic. And my thing, I do not want Carmelo Anthony. If Carmelo stays, we have to get rid of J.R. Smith immediately. That's how I feel. I feel like there's too many chemistry things that Phil Jackson being there is not going to fix. Because even if he coached great, difficult personalities, those personalities he coached, they were humble enough to be coached. The people with that we have on our team that I fear, they don't have good basketball IQs. That's our number one problem.
Yes, you have just a whole bunch of good basketball
Just a whole bunch of good basketball players.
Like same thing I always say about J.R. Smith. I mean, he had the potential to be great, but he makes things.
Right.
It seems like he makes things difficult, and it's really easy. I mean,
it's just like he's too old to need that much coaching. We have no more time to wait on J.R. Smith to get together. He's
30 years old.
Yeah, he's a veteran in the NBA. He knows what it is, and nothing about his game is going to change. I feel like if you bring Lance Stevenson, I love Lance Stevenson. I would love him to come with Melo. But I feel like if you bring him along with J.R. Smith,
of course.
That's like 2009, 2012 Washington Wizards.
Yeah, of course y'all got to get rid of. Of course y'all got to get rid of J.R.
But who's gonna want him though?
Who's gonna want him? And we just signed him last year. We just extended his contract after last season. So I mean, we're locked into him, just like we're locked into Amari Stoudemire for at least another year. We're locked into Bargnani for at least another year. So I feel like
you're going to be around the same pieces if you're Melo for another year.
And granted, in 2015, we're going to have money, and I'm pretty sure people are going to want to come and play at that time. But who doesn't want to come play for LA? Because LA has
but you're only going to have one more year left with Kobe.
You're going to have two. Kobe has a 2-year contract. He said he has
this year and the next year.
Yeah, so you have 2 years with Kobe.
So after this year, Kobe has 1 year left.
Yeah, but
think about 2016 though.
You have 2 years with Kobe as opposed to who do you have? Who's your help in New York? Because we just seen Melo, a lot of scrutiny Melo is facing now because of the ball stops. All of that was pretty much a byproduct of the fact that he had absolutely zero help in New York since he has arrived. So I will go.
But he still has more. They just haven't produced. Melo has way more talent on his roster right now.
No, he does not.
Stop out of here.
Listen, this is what you're not understanding, bro. The Lakers roster is not even filled. That's what you're not understanding.
But that's what I'm saying. Right now, if you look at both squads, New York has way more talent.
You can't compare it because the Lakers don't have a roster.
You talking about 2013-14?
They're waiting on
their rosters right now.
You can't compare it because they only have 5 players.
How can I not compare that?
They
That's the team he has.
They only have a couple players on there.
They don't have a roster.
That's his team right now. So
they don't have a roster.
So if he goes, who is he going with?
He can attract people to come.
Thank you.
Okay, he can attract people to come.
No, he's going to. Because you already said you're gonna have Kobe, Paul
Gasol and Melo.
You're gonna have Kobe, Paul Gasol, and Melo.
And then you can sign some bench guys like Marvin Williams.
They just drafted Julius Randle, who is not going to be a bust in the NBA. He doesn't need surgery. You know what I'm saying?
He can start at the 4.
He's gonna play immediately. And he's gonna get minutes immediately. They're in talks pretty much. They're probably gonna sign Isaiah Washington.
Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, my mistake from the Kings, who quietly averaged 20 points last season. Very, very, very quietly. So right there, you got a quality point guard. You have Kobe Bryant, you have Carmelo Anthony, you have Julius Randle and Paul Gasol. You didn't fill out a starting lineup and you're only giving 2 people good money. Then your bench, you could
just bring in, I don't know.
You can just go pull the same thing Miami pulled for the 2 years they won, because I don't know why people think their bench was all of a sudden horrible because they lost.
It's
the same bench they won.
They need shooters.
And you
still get some for the low.
And everybody knows shooters you get for cheap. Shooters you get for cheap.
What shooters are available?
As well as
Anthony Morrow.
But stuff like that always comes out the woodwork because a lot of players because everything has already been said. People can't go public until July 10th anyway, and then a lot of people are simply waiting to see what Melo and LeBron James are going to do before more free agents come out. You're going to definitely hear more free agents come out, and we're not even counting the fact that depending on what roster they get, is the bearing of what coach they get. So this could very well be a heck of a situation for the Lakers. Way better than.
But I'm trying to think of what coach.
Byron Scott.
They're probably gonna. I would definitely get Byron Scott.
Byron Scott. He's a proven winner.
It would be awesome. He understands the organization, the LA culture.
Guy.
He's a respected coach because he's not a bad coach. He just always had horrible teams and raw deals. Since he's been a coach in the NBA.
His jersey squares was nice though.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. He was at Jersey, but only for one of them years because Lawrence Frank was there.
No, he went to two.
We won some too.
He was both.
Yeah.
Oh, but they lost to the Spurs and Lakers. It wasn't his fault. And they only had Jason Kidd and
Kerry Kittles.
What, Richard Jefferson wasn't a dog?
Yeah.
RJ was a dog. Oh, stop! Don't play Art. Richard Jefferson wasn't a dog back then.
I wish you guys could see my face right now.
Oh my God!
I'm a huge Richard Jefferson fan. He went to Arizona.
He wasn't a dog?
He was very, very solid. No, he was not a dog.
Oh my God. Richard Jefferson was a dog.
Not a dog.
I would
Very, very solid. Very, very good.
And athletic at that time.
Yeah.
Richard Jefferson was a dog.
Yeah. Love him.
05-07, Richard Jefferson was a dog.
That
man was nice.
I ain't gonna put him on superstar level.
I'm not putting him on superstar level, but he was nice.
That's why I'm not saying dog. I mean, like, Tayshaun Prince was a dog at one point in time. I would never thought Richard Jefferson was like. I never thought championship player when I looked at Richard Jefferson. I understood why that team lost. I would just say that. I understood why that
defensive player.
Horrible defensive team. He was a defensive liability. He wasn't a consistent shooter at that time, and I'm in love with Richard Jefferson. He went to Arizona.
Nobody could hold Shaq, and nobody could hold Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, so I understand why the team lost.
Impossible.
Yeah, they didn't have name dogs besides Cam Martin, Justin Kidd.
All right, and you know what else I want to talk about? All right, this Patrick Peterson and Richard Sherman. I know this. Sherman came off a Super Bowl. Got a little cocky. He got a Super Bowl ring. He could talk a little bit. Dude. But I always thought that Patrick Peterson is a better shutdown corner.
Listen.
No, go ahead and say it.
If Fitzpatrick would have threw a better ball, we wouldn't be having this conversation. He underthrew the ball. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Kaepernick?
Yes. I said Fitzpatrick, my bad. If Kaepernick would have threw a better ball and if he would have underthrown it, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
And think of it, a lot of Sherman's picks this past year were over underthrown balls.
And I'm like, it's like, come on, yo. If you would have had a better ball, and if who was that safety that was just had to be at the right place at the right time? That would have just been another better ball. That was another better ball. Yes, that's what another better ball. Like it just things just so happen to work out in his favor.
I just think people base things off of statistics, but you have to watch these guys play. Patrick Peterson shut down. Besides Megatron got 100 yards off of him, but that was one blown coverage. But other than that, he contained Megatron. All right, he played Vincent Jackson, Tavon Austin. Who else? T.Y. Hilton, Deshaun Jackson. Held them to under. Marcus Colston held them all under 75 yards receiving in a game. Steve Smith too. I mean, think about it. Arizona Cardinals were number one against the run. Middle of the pack against the pass. But you have one guy, opposed to Sherman, who has a great.
Yeah, just has a great defense.
Great defense. You're gonna have to throw the ball. He's gonna have to be targeted more than Peterson because he's just one ball. One guy, and then the second receiver on the opposing team is the one that's gonna get all the shine. When he played was at Atlanta, and Drew Davis was the one who got 120 something receiving yards, and he wasn't in Peterson's watch. But I don't know about Sherman. I never seen Peterson get scorched. I seen him shut down Dez Bryant, Vincent Jackson, but what about Sherman? I seen him get burned by T.Y. Hilton, caught 150 over him. Hell, Titus Young got like 125.
There's different systems. Arizona play matchup, so they play man. So
they just manning up.
So
when
Patrick Peterson, yeah, you're going to see him get thrown out more. You're going to see him with more chances to be exposed because he's actually covering guys everywhere they go in the field. So his numbers, he's going to have more opportunities to get his numbers. Richard Sherman, on the other hand, is a part of a scheme. So he covers a zone on the field. And so I feel like by covering a zone on the field, yeah, you're not technically holding the best receiver every single play, but you are lining up on the same side as the best receiver every single play. He is their best cornerback, so he does line up with the other team's best receiver. He has less chances to actually impact the game by playing zone because you can easily throw away from the zone. You can easily not go to that spot of the field that he's actually covering. Fact of the matter is, Patrick Peterson is the better raw, talented,
because he can do both.
I guess true man-to-man corner.
And he can play zone.
But a lot of people, it's very few systems that have successfully played man. A lot of systems, especially great defenses, a lot of them are based on zone or or combo of blitzes and zones and man zones, things of that nature. So I feel like when we think of cornerback, and we have to automatically assume it has to be man-to-man, follow him every single where, but that's not the norm as much as we like to think it is. And I think that's coming into the argument with these two, where people are saying, well, Patrick Peterson is better because of that fact, and Richard Sherman is in the right spot at the right time. But at the same time, he's been in the right spot more than anybody since he's been in the NFL, because since he's came in, he's led the league in interceptions. So I feel like, and it brings in Revis and everybody else, we can say what we want to say, but at the end of the day, especially as a corner, it's about production. And he is the best production cornerback in the NFL. Personally, I think Darrelle Revis is the best cornerback in the NFL. I think his injury really took him out of the limelight and out of everybody's mind, and especially in NFL where 1 year can really do that for you. No knock against Patrick Peterson, but he has some mechanical issues that has flew under the radar because he is that freakishly good and that freakishly athletic, so you can do that. Same thing with Deion Sanders. Nobody talks about the fact that he was one of the most horriblest contact defenders of all time.
That's why I say that Aeneas Williams would get a slight.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Darryl Green gets slighted because Darryl Green was 5'8", but he did pretty much a lot what Deion Sanders did over a way longer period of time. And he actually was physical. He would hit, and he would blitz, and he would be up on the line. Deion Sanders wasn't really doing all that. But it's a reason why they don't really throw to Richard. They keep coming at Patrick Patterson. So he's good, but he hasn't impacted the game to the point where quarterbacks are saying, hey, we just can't throw to that side yet.
The defense on the other side, you had Gerard Powers who's getting targeted. I mean, he doesn't have that back leverage like Seattle. Okay, you have Earl Thomas, you got Cam Chancellor, then you have another two corners when you can just bring sub in. Okay, besides Browner, who was spending the majority of last year, you bring sub in Byron Maxwell, and then Walter Thurman the third. With Arizona, your secondary besides Matthew.
Besides Tyrann Mathieu, you have Patrick Peterson.
And that's the point.
I'm just saying, but now I'm gonna just say this right now.
Why would you go if everybody else in the secondary is booty? I'm gonna be throwing at them.
Yeah, that's
knowing I got Patrick Patterson right there. But that's not what happens. They still throw at Patrick Patterson. That's what I'm saying. So his talent has not transited to be that fear yet from his position where, hey, we're not going over there. Because he still gets thrown at quite often. Richard Sherman has his great system, but people still won't technically throw. They'll still go and test them other great guys. Yeah. But they're not actually coming at Richard Sherman a lot. So for him to actually be doing what he's doing production-wise, I think that speaks a lot to his single individual ability at cornerback.
Well, I'm going to say this. Since they brought in Antonio Cromartie, I feel that he was going to start getting some shine this year.
Where did he just...
Arizona.
Yeah, right.
Now he has that. Now he has that.
He did.
That opposite cornerback who's, is a solid producer. So, I mean, the same thing with like the zone. Same thing I can say Alteron Werner. He plays zone. He's not a man guy. I just want to see, I don't know, but I always want to say this. Do you think that if Seattle didn't have Thomas or Chancellor or Byron Maxwell, you think that Sherman would be as successful now?
If he was in like a man-to-man position, like
if he didn't have that leverage
in that system,
he didn't have his, the LOB didn't exist. He was just the only guy out there. You just had some regular, I don't know. You had a Gerald Sensabaugh as a free safety.
It would depend. Because of him being so tall, I think I think of some receivers who can outrun him. He's not slow at all. But I don't think he would be getting
as much praise.
I don't think he would be getting exposed. I don't think. Do I think he would be leading the league in interceptions?
Oh, of course not.
I do though, because if you can do it in a zone where less opportunities, well, it would just
because a lot of these picks come from tap balls from Thomas or Chancellor. The majority of Thomas, and a lot of them were just like wild thrown balls. Because that one game, they play when it was Houston when Shaw was about to get sacked and he just had one arm just about to fling him down. He just threw it up for lobs. I mean, I could have picked that off. And the one I seen against Eli, well, hell, anybody could pick off Eli Manning this past year.
You wouldn't. I would like this. I don't know, because you wouldn't be able to go deep against him. You wouldn't be able to go deep because not a lot of your deep threats, unless they just got blazing speed and getting outrunning by like 5 yards. He's 6'3", so he's got a height advantage on a lot of them. And then the ones who taller, they're not going to be outrunning him. So I think
they're the smaller guys because
it would just be like
T.Y. Hilton was burning him.
It would be stuff like that. But I mean, how many T.Y. Hiltons are a special cat? So I don't know. I just have to take it at face value. At face value, he's outproduced every cornerback in the NFL in 3 years.
Yeah, the system. The system can come into play. I just got to see him just shut somebody down one time. Just one time.
You ain't gonna see it in the zone because it's not his responsibility inside of the zone.
And that's why I always say Patrick Peterson is better now.
But basically,
Patrick Peterson is better than him.
It's just different role. I guess for me, I don't understand where different functions determine better. Just because I have to do this and you don't, it's a lot of things your Sherman has to do in a zone. Because actually, it's more responsibility in a zone. You have to be more disciplined in a zone than you have to do play man to man.
Because it's kind of different when you look at linebackers. If you play in a 4-3 opposed to the 3-4.
Right. Like nobody's gonna say I play in the 4-3, and so what I do is more than what you do at 3-4. It's just like, when does that matter? I just think everything be mattering except actual production. Like at the end of the day, you have to go to the production. That's the only equalizer. Is what are they actually doing within them systems?
I understand. As far as football IQ, as far as being able to man up in a zone, is definitely harder than just being able to line up and man with somebody as far as they running their routes. As far as football IQ, I'll give him that. I feel as if he's a smarter football player than Patrick Peterson. I will give him that. But as far as like raw talent, I feel as if Patrick Peterson is still better than him.
Raw talent, yeah.
Yeah, he's athletic. I mean, he's the only cornerback. I mean, besides Reeves, who could play both man and zone. But I just have to look at just the secondary opposed. I mean, they put Seattle out there as one of the best single season defenses of all time. And then, and you look at the. Then again, they do have a different formation scheme because Seattle with 4-3. They do run the 4-3, and Arizona runs the 3-4.
And with their zone, their corners be on islands a lot of times. Because the Seattle safeties, they ain't cover safeties. Their safeties is Palomalus. So they don't just be playing. They be up, blitzing, and checking flats. So they ain't just always sitting over the top. It's a very complex system there, but
I'll say that when you compare defenses, I think that Arizona's front. Their front is better than Seattle. They stopped the run. I mean, you had Dockett and Calais Campbell. And the linebackers was up there with Washington. But it's just the secondary, the cornerback, free safety is, I mean, yes, there's no shot. That's why I always thought that if Sherman didn't have that, that talented.
That protection.
He
is protected.
it's kind of like he's like a valuable decoy in a way, but was actually exploited. The opposing team pretty much. That's how I look at it. I mean, I give him his props though. I mean, he can say whatever the hell he wants to say because he won.
And he backs it up. That's my thing. Like, he backs it up. Like, if
he was beat.
Like,
And if that was a better ball, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
if he wasn't 6'3", like,
Yeah.
he's 6'3", he made a hell of a play on the ball.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But if that was a better ball, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
As far as what kind, I would, because he still had 20 interceptions, so he still would have had the same exact stats. You know what I'm saying? He still would have had 20 interceptions over 3 seasons.
As far as how much we're talking about him, if he would, Michael Crabtree, if that was a better ball by Kaepernick and Michael Crabtree would have caught that ball, even if him extending himself, he would still beat. That ball was caught, so we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Based upon what though? Because
once again, like one of the reasons that we're talking about because of the play that he made.
No, it's not. It's
because of that play.
It's because of his interview.
It's because of that play.
It's because of the play or the interview. I think it's more so.
It's because of the play.
All I'm gonna say is
it's because of the play. Because if it wasn't for the play, we wouldn't have the interview.
That's still not the point, bro.
It's because of the play.
You're talking about like single season stats.
No, this is what I'm saying. You take that play out, the argument would still be, is Richard Sherman the best cornerback in the NFL based upon the fact that in the last 3 years, he's led the NFL in interceptions. That's the main argument. Then what got us to have the argument, yes, he made a great play, but after he made a great play and then had the interview, we had a choice on what we could have talked about. And in those following weeks, nobody talked about how great of a player it was. The conversation instantly became, did you see Richard Sherman go off in the post-game interview? That instantly got the attention. So much that people even forgot that he made a play. That's my thing. Like, the ball couldn't have been that much better thrown because it was in the back of the end zone for number one. So you had to worry about was Crabtree even going to be able to
He was going to be able to catch that.
But it's too many variables. What's going to get his feet in? It's like it's a whole lot of variables. Like it wasn't like 10 yards. Like, it was a very minimum window that ball had to be in. It was kind of the best throw Kaepernick could have made under a perfect throw. It wasn't a bad throw. It wasn't a give me. A play still had to be made. He had to tap it at his highest point at 6'3". When he jumped, he barely still got it. So the ball wasn't in his lap. And then dude still had to come and make a diving pretty much interception. So, like, dude throw that play out. I'm still asking myself, is Richard Sherman the best NFL cornerback because he got 20 interceptions over 3 years? That's why I'm thinking he's the best cornerback because he has 20 interceptions over 3 years. And not that many quarterbacks has put up that many stats in that short span. I don't even think prime time has. As far as 20 interceptions in 3 seasons, like, it's pretty amazing. In his first 3 seasons, at that, like, so, because he ain't a vet. I don't know. Do y'all think, like, because basically it comes down to, do y'all think, like, what he gets, is he worth it, pretty much? Like, is he hype, or is he really substance? I feel like that's what I take away from the conversation. Is he hype, or is he substance?
The only way we'll be able to find out is if he goes to another system.
No, you can't do that. Why can't you appreciate people for where they're at? Like, this is where they're at.
Because zone is so much different than manning up somebody.
It's so much more difficult than manning up somebody, too. So you gotta take that, and he's putting up better numbers doing a more difficult thing.
But he's still protected by the other 3 corners that he's with.
Because what you call it was
he's still
extremely
protected.
physical with a lot of
he's
grounding.
still protected.
They got all the great defenses. They put him up with top defenses, right, of all time. So the Ravens, the 85 Bears.
The 03 Patriots.
All them teams with them great defenses and them great systems that were loaded at every position. How many of their cornerbacks had the numbers Richard Sherman got?
None.
If it was a system, you would have seen something of his production repeated in the previous system. Because them teams was loaded, especially that Patriots defense. They was loaded. So if he's just benefiting, he should be interchangeable. You should be able to take him out, and Maxwell should be able to put up the numbers next year. Or Brandon Browner should go put up the numbers next year in New England. Or Aqib Talib should have put him up in New England. Or he should put him up in Denver, and they don't.
But what I'm trying to say is, okay, I understand that he has those interceptions, but
he also lead deflections.
But understand he has those interceptions based on that system. That based on that system. That doesn't necessarily mean he's shutting somebody down.
All I know is at the
He's
end
not.
of the day,
If you're in a system, that doesn't mean you're shutting somebody down. You just at the right
Yes,
place
it
at the right
does.
time. You just at the right place at the right time.
No.
If you have a zone right here and the ball is thrown, it doesn't matter who you hold. You just at the right place at the right
that's not
time. He didn't
true.
shut.
That's not true because he's always.
What you mean?
Because he's always. Because you have to understand the zone that he's run. He's always on the. He's always on the. His primary target is always the other team's number one receiver. After 10 yards, depending on his zone, 10 to 15 yards, he releases them to one man. And he picks up another man who enters his zone, which is way harder to cover. You know how much...
So that means he's interchangeable in who he's holding. So
No,
he's necessarily not shutting somebody down.
I'm saying he's not interchangeable. That's what I'm saying.
No, as far as he's interchangeable, as far as who he's guarding at that point in time, he has his own. You just said when somebody, 10 yards, he's off that man. Now he has a zone. That doesn't mean he shut that man.
I never said.
I'm just far as talking about pure talent, just shutting somebody down.
And that's why 5 minutes ago I prefaced with the misconception of what a true shutdown cornerback is. Because a shutdown cornerback, that the way you're talking about, is not even a common quarterback. It's 25 cornerbacks that don't do what you're saying. that don't do what you're saying they do.
That's based on system.
But no, what I'm saying is your idea of shutdown, meaning you have to be man to man. It can't be system. You got to truly be, I'm holding you to 0 catches and under 100 yards, truly shut down. There's very, very few. There's so little cornerbacks that have actually done that you can't even have the moniker shutdown corner based upon that because it's such a rarity. 9 times out of 10, especially in NFL, bro, you're talking about grown men running up a 100-yard football field. You can't tire out. So 9 times out of 10, they're running systems. They're running systems. A lot of people are running zones. Even with great cornerbacks, they are playing zones. So my thing is, if it's so much of the system, how come other people who have been in Richard Sherman's system? Because I understand this system isn't new. He's not the only cornerback to be in this system. It's Pete Carroll's system, who Pete Carroll got from somebody who Pete Carroll had when he was in the NFL the first time. So how come if it's the system, how come no cornerback that has been in that system on Hall of Fame defenses where teams have been better than the defense he's on, how come their shutdown cornerback, per se, has not put up the production that Richard Sherman has? That proves interchangeable or not. If his numbers are unseen by every other person in his exact function, it can't really be the system. It has to be a reason he's that guy in that system. It has to be a reason. Earl Thomas is not getting Richard Sherman clout. It's the other way around. The other dude, Maxwell, he just became a starter because Brandon Brown had problems. So he got Richard Sherman no clout. To bring up a tip pass to make it seem like that's the bulk of Richard Sherman's interceptions is ludicrous.
No, that's one of the reasons why it's been elevated to where it is.
I totally disagree. That's just what I mean. Because it's a tip pass, which he also leads in that same amount of time, as he also leads touchdowns given up on that same amount of time. So it's not just interceptions he's getting off gimmies, it's other defensive statistical categories that have to do with his particular skill set that he has led ever since he's came to the NFL for the past 3 seasons. He was a 6th-round pick, man.
I'm not saying that it wasn't there. I feel it's elevated. It wouldn't be to the height if it was now if it wasn't for that play.
He was still being talked about as the best because when you think about best, you have to look at the numbers. So what I'm saying, at the end of the day, when you bring up is he the best cornerback, it would have simply came down to numbers with or without that play. And without that play, his numbers would have been exactly the same. So the same, is he the best? He would have had to be in the same category because his numbers were still what they were. Because we're not saying he's the best off that play or off his elevation. We're saying he's the best truly simply because he's led the league in interceptions since he's been in the league. That's just really what it comes down to. Whether we knew about it or not, he's the best because he's led the league in interceptions for the past 3 seasons. That's just, if anything, I feel like that play got him the scrutiny. Because he didn't have his scrutiny before. Nobody was doubting Richard Sherman before, outside of being drafted in the 6th round, based off of honest evaluation. So once that play happened, then people were like, whoa.
The scrutiny
is he deserving of this?
The scrutiny came off the interview.
Which begs the interview was the most important part of that whole game. The interview. People talk about nothing about the game, which mind you, he shut Crabtree down the whole entire game. He had Crabtree out of the game because that was personal because they had beef from a charity function earlier in the offseason. So, that's why if you go back and look at that game and you go back and look at other games, he's actually held a lot of people in check. System or not, they would have had better numbers if he was whack. And Patrick Peterson should be leading the interception or in some, he's just the best athlete and he's a freak. So people like, ooh, he's the best. No, he's not. It's like 4 niggas in the NFL I take before I take him at cornerback. What has he done?
What
has he done? At the end of the day, what has he done?
With Peterson?
At the end of the day, what has he done to be like, ooh, he's the best cornerback in NFL? Besides you giving my eye test and you're judging his physical abilities over his production.
I believe he just ran his stats off right before he began this argument.
I've never seen. I heard names of people he's shut down.
I've seen it firsthand 3-4 times.
That's what how many games?
Interceptions just automatically determine that?
No. What I'm saying is, how many games they play?
16, and 15 of those he kept his.
I would have to see that. If you can show me 15 receivers he held that were quality receivers that he held under 100 yards out of 16 games, one person had 100 yards, I would have to see that. I would literally have to see that.
Megatron's the only one got 100 yards, and the closest person was Marcus Costa at 75.
I would have to see it, because I remember Chad Johnson having a list and showing, hey, I did this to this guy and did this to my numbers. I would have to see it. We got Richard Sherman numbers. We don't see no numbers for Patrick Peterson.
Hey, yeah, think about it. Playing with the Cardinals. I mean,
I don't care who you play with. Jerry West lost the finals, almost got swept and won MVP. So if you that sweet, you that sweet. That's my thing. Like, it be too many excuses for systems. Man, listen here, bro. Systems ain't got nothing to do with production. At the end of it.
All I'm going to say is, this year, he's going to make a name for himself.
Mike, I'm sorry. I'm not deterred. So,
you're deterred. Was this his third year? Or
fourth.
This is who fourth year?
Peterson came out on 20.
This is third or?
No, he came in the same year Richard Sherman did.
Oh, that's even worse. Y'all been lead the same. Y'all been in lead the same time, dude. You was a lottery pick. This dude was 6th-round pick.
So you're determining how good someone is off of interceptions alone?
Off overall production. I also mentioned for the third time, he doesn't just lead interceptions in that time frame. So his overall statistical play, along with his physical abilities, overall he's the best cornerback in the NFL. Because he has the production to match up physical abilities. Peterson got better physical abilities. He's hella way more gifted. Cool. LeBron James more gifted than Jordan. Who better?
Yeah, what's wrong? It's just the coverage.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm on. So the receivers in which that he shut down.
Vincent Jackson.
Can I see the list, please?
All right.
Because I don't know every single person they played last year, but I know at no point in time last year.
At the end of this podcast, I'm about the computer.
Yeah.
We go to the game log.
I know at no point in time last year did I ever hear anybody say, "Did you see Patrick Peterson shut down?" That was never the talk on SportsCenter, and I watch it every single day, and they don't miss nothing. And that was never the talk, bro. For 3 seasons, I've never heard Patrick Peterson's name as the way it is now. For 3 seasons.
Y'all gotta start watching some Arizona Cardinal football, man. When I watched him play the Colts, T.Y. just a week after T.Y. scorched the Seahawks.
I know how dope he is. He's hella dope. I know how dope he is, but how dope he is does not transcend to production. And at the end of the day, if you total up the overall production for the past 3 years, Richard Sherman's numbers blows every cornerback out that has been on the NFL field. That has to speak to something. Because it's hella niggas who have been in hella systems who have not done what this guy have done with more physical ability. He was a 6th-round pick. This is what I'm saying. He was a 6th-round pick. So everything he's doing is pretty much based off his ability because nothing was given. They didn't draft him because they had a great system. Like, oh, we just need Richard Sherman. Like, no, he made the system just as dope. Because niggas wasn't talking about Lob City or none of that before he got there.
All right.
I just
have to show you the stats.
He's gonna have to go through the stat book and game log. We'll see.
Okay.
They always pick him, and then when you look at the other people that's not in his watches, the ones who get over the 100 yards and some unlikely. So when he shut down Deshaun Jackson, who was it? That was Zach Ertz was the only one who got over 100 yards receiving.
That ain't the first time this happened.
Or Steve.
Patrick Peterson bigger and faster. It's easy. I can shut that nigga down if I'm bigger and faster than he. I'm not doubting who he had shut down, but what effect has it transcended on the football field? Them niggas are still a horrible team. They still got horrible defensive ratings.
Oh, not necessarily. it was like 14th against the pass. I mean, that's not
middle.
Yeah, but if he's just one man,
you'll see student, dog. You'll see. Your best has brought your team up to a C when they were a C before you.
So, but there's way more talent on the Seattle's defense than the Cardinals' defense.
That's not what I'm arguing. It's not what I'm arguing. What I'm arguing is take Seattle out of the equation. Let's just look at Patrick Peterson. What from him has transcended to his team or to the field? It's a simple observation. They were the same defense they was before him. They haven't jumped from like 30th to like 10. Them niggas probably like 19, now they're like 15.
That's not just basically him, that's personnel.
I think that Bruce Arians...
That's personnel.
That's crazy.
So you say,
it's
all
like,
right...
They got stats for that, like win above replacement or that. They got stats for that.
But there's other positions than just the quarterback position.
But there is a stat that you can use to single-handedly determine the value of a single player. So if we're talking about one player...
And I guarantee you Patrick Peterson has a bigger percentage of how he affects his team more than Richard Sherman does. I guarantee you that.
Then that should mean, since the acquisition of Patrick Peterson, the Arizona Cardinals have shown bigger growth than the Seattle Seahawks have since they got Richard Sherman. That's what that should correlate to.
We're just talking about individuals.
It should correlate to that.
No, it does not.
All I know is...
No, it does not.
All I know is Seattle ain't been good since 2005.
No, it does not.
10 years later,
because there are 10 other people on that defense. There are 10 other people on that defense.
You don't understand what I'm saying. I promise you don't understand what I'm saying. I promise you don't understand what I'm saying. Nobody's talking about like Richard Sherman as a byproduct of LOB. LOB has got attention because Richard Sherman. And that's real because Richard Sherman did open his mouth and then backed it up with play. That's what got them niggas all the attention. Because he could have surely made that play, opened his mouth, and then got smoked the next game.
And I will say, I feel as if you interchange them.
I have never seen I have never seen a nigga abusing Richard Sherman. A, because he's in the zone, so I won't allow it. Number two.
Because he's protected in the zone. He's protected. He's protected in that. You said he hasn't been abused because he's in that zone. He's getting protected.
I've seen him get abused 3 or 4
He is
times.
protected as opposed to being man up with somebody with Patrick Peterson. You are protected in that zone. I'm not taking anything from his skill, but he is protected. So he low-key, he can play more freely in that zone.
No, you cannot. That's the whole point. No, you cannot, bro. I played football and cornerback. No, you cannot.
You low-key can play more freely.
No, you cannot. If you play freely in the zone, you are messing up the zone.
No, I'm not saying freely as in you're assigned. No. I'm not saying I'm not.
You cannot take more chances. You cannot do none of that in the zone. No, you cannot, bro. No, you cannot. The word more freely does not apply in the zone over anything man to man. No, it does not, bro. And I know it does not. And I know it does not.
You're taking my context of freely.
I'm taking what the word freely means. The freely means like with less,
not do what you know.
Less restriction, right? Less restriction, more room to roam.
No.
Is that what freely means?
No, if you know what you have to do, if you know,
freely means that.
No. When you know what you have to do, and you're in a zone, you know what you have to do, as opposed to manning up with somebody and not knowing where they're going. It's almost more disciplined to play man with somebody than being in the zone and know what you're doing. So if I know I have to just protect this circle, the
fundamental value of your argument is completely wrong. Bro, I played cornerback on a high school level. No, it is not that way, bro. No, it is not that way. When you are running man to man, this is the easy thing to do. You just stay with the receiver. No matter, you're not worried about where he's going. You ain't trying to predict where he's going.
But physically, you have to be gifted to do that.
All you gotta do is, you gotta be physically gifted to be on the football field, my nigga. You gotta be gifted to do everything that they all doing. But I'm talking about the responsibilities of a zone compared to man to man. Your fundamental argument that you just presented is completely wrong, based off my experience of being a football player. That's completely wrong, bro. I would play man-to-man over zone any day, bro. Any day. Because you got less to worry about. In a zone, bro, you got to worry about every nigga in your zone. Not just one nigga who in your zone. You got to worry about... So on cross routes, or if they run a deep and a flat, if the quarterback decides to throw the ball while the deep receiver in your zone and the flat dude in your zone, you got to make an on-the-fly decision on who you going to go after. As opposed to if you a man, I just got to stay with this dude no matter where he goes. Just let me stay with him.
That's
no matter where he go, no matter.
That's almost
That's
like playing
easier.
freely.
I did.
Because you literally have to choose one, so you're free.
No, you're not free, bro. That is a restriction.
You have to choose one. You're playing more free.
That is a restriction on you, bro. It is a restriction because you have the burden of two people. You're thinking of free because I got an option to choose. It's not an option like multiple choice. It's like you're forced to make an option. You're forced to make a pick, bro. It is not freely. You have more freedom and capability to roam around and make decisions when you're in man-to-man. Because a lot of times you got over-the-top safety help. A whole lot of times you got cover 2 safety help. Where no matter what you do, you can, boom, let me cut under. I got to do over me. Or boom, my safety will under. Boom, let me jump over. All I got to do, I ain't worried about nothing else. All I got to do is watch number 85. No matter what they do.
You don't have safety help a man to man. You're manned up.
A whole lot of times
you're manned up.
Bro, the cornerback can be a man to man. It's called cover 2 man press, bro.
I'm not talking coverage. I'm talking man to man.
Bro, listen, cover 2 man press where you can have a cornerback manned up with over the top safety help. Yes, so your point of if you're a man to man, you don't have over the top safety help. Yes, you do. There's very few times where a cornerback is completely on an island. Bro, it is very few times where people are really leaving cornerbacks on true islands. Go back and watch tapes. Deion Sanders wasn't being left on islands or none of that, bro. You want to talk about niggas benefiting off systems. You want to talk about a nigga benefiting off systems, bro. Them systems nigga Deion Sanders had in Dallas and San Francisco. Are you serious? Are you serious, bro? We're like 8 niggas in the Hall of Fame off one defense system? Dude, man, listen. Please, bro, go back. Let's talk systems. If you want to discredit niggas' accomplishments based off a system, it's a whole lot of niggas who don't deserve nothing based upon a system. Bro, I think Richard Sherman is the man. And until you find me a cornerback who put up 20 interceptions in 3 seasons, in his first 3 seasons, leaving a pro-style defense to come to this system, something that was new, where he was manning up in college, that's my thing. Oh, he was manning up in college. He went to Stafford. Them niggas ain't running the same defense. So he wasn't padded or none of that. And go peep his numbers then and see if he wasn't Pac-10, one of the men in the Pac-10. This is my thing, bro. His production has always been there no matter what system. Where is Patrick Peterson's production? Is what I'm saying. Where is this nigga's production? Win me some games, Patrick Peterson. Win me some games, Patrick Peterson.
Richard Sherman isn't single-handedly winning games for Seattle.
I've seen Richard Sherman single-handedly make the play that wins the game.
Wrong. He only made the play because there was a horrible pass. He was still beat.
Horrible pass.
He was beat.
It was a horrible pass.
He was beat.
It was a horrible pass.
He was beat. He wasn't beat. He wasn't beat.
No,
he wasn't beat.
The nigga had nowhere to go. He was in the back of the end zone. He couldn't run anymore. There was nowhere else the ball could have went, bro.
There was definitely some yards in front of him.
Okay. I ain't got no problem getting my phone right now. Fucking wait. What you mean wait? Nigga got highs, nigga. He was in the back of the end zone. That nigga 5'10". Richard Sherman 6'3". I don't care how good the ball was thrown. He wasn't catching it. So fight is different, but not with less than 5 yards to maneuver. Who you gotta be to get that ball to your Peyton Manning? That's Kaepernick for it? Wow. That was Kaepernick's fault. That's what I just got. Wow. That man is on Kaepernick. My nigga jumped out the gym and barely touched the ball. That's how good of a throw it was if he barely got it at his highest point. He wasn't on no straight. That nigga was like angling on the back line of the end zone when that play happened. That's why he kept running straight and ended up in the middle of the end zone and Sherman had to go chase him down to tap him. They had like no 10 yards to run. This is back of the end zone play, corner of the end zone play.
That was just a great play. If you understand that play.
That was just a great play.
So he didn't have yards in front of him? He didn't have yards in front of him?
I said less than 5, right? I said less than 5, right? I said he had
If that was